Media literacy. Understand the preparation and purpose of media messages. Now there's an interesting one. We know that in the media, particularly on television or newspapers or magazines, you're constantly being bombarded with sales information, with political information, right? So you need to know how that's created. Are they going out and doing their own research? Is it a biased research, or is it pretty straight? Examine various ways of interpreting messages. When you look at TV, listen to the radio, you're going to get a sense of what the message is trying to tell you, what it's trying to tell you. Now, I think I mentioned the other day that politicians in particular use media messages to sway public opinion in their direction. Therefore, their messages are biased toward their particular goals. Now, that in and of itself may not be bad, except for the fact that they can be distorting the truth. They could be twisting the truth to suit their needs. You must be very careful and never simply believe what's on the news or what's in a magazine or a newspaper just because somebody wrote it. Because they may have an ulterior motive. They may be twisting the message, right, to suit their own purposes, as opposed to saying something that was straight and honest. And very little of our news today is straight and honest. It's usually very biased. So be careful on what you believe. Before believing something, look at different sources for that information. All right? Look at different sources. See if one source supports the other. And then, of course, understand the ethical issues behind that and legal issues. And we talked about that just a moment ago. There may be, again, copyright issues. There may be ethical issues on talking about a person whom you have no right to talk about. It's ethical. It doesn't mean that you can't. It just means it may not be ethical or right to talk about or give out this information. So it's like looking 360 degrees. Instead of having a narrow focus and just looking at information as words, we're looking at their utility, usefulness. We're looking at how soon can I use it, recognizing it has a shelf life. And there are copyright, legal, and or moral issues may be associated. So the point of this is that you have to think. You just can't take in and throw out without considering these things, because they could have very serious repercussions. It could have very serious consequences if you don't. Does that make sense? So this whole information and utility and all this stuff, it's not happening in isolation. It's all, in effect, revolving like a wheel, happening at the same time. You've got to be smart enough, you've got to be diligent enough to, as information presents itself, to evaluate it across all these different dimensions, right? Of accuracy, truthfulness, usefulness, and appropriateness, right? So don't forget these things. understand and use the most appropriate media creation tools. Well, media creation tools. Anybody know what those might be? Any hands? Media creation tools. Yeah.
Social media. Social media.
Social media, very good. That's a very big one. Computers, networks, right? Technologies, word processors, graphics. Everything is information, even though its form may be in pictures as opposed to words. Yes? Newspaper, yes. Magazines, very good. This is all true. So these are mechanisms for creating media messages. Mechanisms for creating media messages. So you pick the one that is most appropriate to your objective. What are you trying to accomplish with a media message? What kind of information? And the tool that you would use would be related to the message that you want to send out. Hold the video for a second. Hold the video for a minute.